Hey Scrap Monster. What have you been up to?
I've been carefully plotting which of your new fabrics to burn.
Well, that's rude, but I guess it's well deserved. Want to help me sew something?
Oh, not really.
Okay, well, this is deserved. If I sew something, it will mean more scraps for your hoard.
I can't deny a valid point.
Well, in that case, welcome to the Great Costube Sew Off. So, what is the Great Costube Sew Off? This is a multi-part, multi-month project that is very much inspired by the Great British Bake Off, and you can take part now or take part maybe, later this summer if you have more time then. Whatever works for you, it's just in the spirit of crafting, sewing, and good fun. This is supposed to be a fun way for you to show off your sewing skills and your love of crafting. Did I mention fun? It's supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be a fun thing to do. So if you've watched the British Bake Off, then you know there are challenges. So what are the challenges for the Great Costube Sew Off? Again, you can take part in this whenever you feel like it, but for March, April, May, here are the themes. For March, we're going to have the Signature Challenge, which is going to be a pattern that's either free or made by an indie pattern maker. For April, we delve into the Technical Challenge, and in the Great Costube Sew Off, that means a reused or recycled product of some kind used in your make. And of course, in May, it's the Showstopper. And in this case, the showstopper is going to be a UFO or an unfinished object, if you will. So one of those things that you've either started cutting out or you've highly considered cutting out, this is the time to finish that thing as your showstopper. Is there a winner in the Great Costube Sew Off, like in the Great British Bake Off? No, there's no winner, because we're all winners. We are all winners for taking part in sewing things, whether it's a UFO, an indie pattern, a free pattern, or a recycled object. You should be proud of yourself and you're a winner for participating. It is a truth universally acknowledged that I am going to choose a project that is going to make me rethink my life choices. So for my signature challenge, I am challenging myself to make a pair of pants. And I'm using the Mood Mystery Kit supplies that I got that pretty much has everything I need except for the zipper. Let this be a reminder for folks who didn't catch my mood haul video that I actually go over in detail the mood kit that I'm talking about here. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out now. The basics of this kit is that it comes with enough stuff for you to make either a basic introductory sewing thing, like a garment piece, and a little bit more intermediate, quote, advanced thing. So let's go make some pants and defeat my fear of sewing a zipper into a crotch seam. So let's go make some pants and defeat my fear of zipper insertion in pants. We're all good sewers and fashion students, so start the floor. Yes, I am starting this off on the floor because this is where I'm going to cut out my fabric. My sewing table is actually really full of, school homework and stuff, and not little offshoot projects like making pants. So the first thing we're going to tackle in this project is going to be putting in those pleats in the front and back, or darts if you will, for the back specifically, and inserting those pockets. And if you've done the pockets in the other pants that I showed previously, the comfy pants, it's pretty much the same thing, just a little bit of fiddling. You can see here, this is how I'm pinning them down after I've sewed it. And I'm using the pattern to kind of help guide me to make sure that I have it lined up correctly. But these are fairly easy if this is the first kind of pocket thing you've ever done. Just, pay close attention to the original pattern and take your time. Use a lot of pins and take your time is my biggest advice for all of this. And up here at the top, I will say I should have serged the edges of all of these seams before I started actually sewing the garment. So if you have an inkling that your fabric might start coming apart easily, fray easily essentially, please serge it. Like, this fabric is a dream. I think it looks really nice as the final garment, and it moves really smoothly, and I love the weight of it, and it's just such a pretty kind of heather lavender color.
but it frays. It does fray, and I had to serge it post finishing the project, but here we are. Anyway, put in your pleats, sew them down, press everything flat and beautiful, and then make sure you sew your inseam. If you've never done it before, check the link in my description for a bunch of tips on how to do pants the first time. Okay, so after you've done those little fiddly bits of the top, then you move on to sewing the outside of your garment. And you can see here, I've, again, we've already put the pocket in, so now we're just sewing that outside seam. And it's fairly easy. It's just a slightly curved line. Again, you could totally serge all this, just account for that in the seam allowance and how deep in you're serging. But it's fairly easy to do that outside and inside curve, in my opinion. And since this is my first time making like pants that aren't super stretchy, there is a little stretch to this, but not a ton. I will say it's better to start off with bigger legs than you need if that's what happens. Like for this pattern, it was a wide leg, and it was really forgiving because then I could bring the pattern in versus if I'd start off with something that was too skinny for my legs. So if you have concerns about your thighs, start with a bigger pattern. And moving on to step 3, it is the inside, the inseam. I pinned everything first. As you can see here, I'm using my ironing board to do all the hard work. And since this is my first time making pants, again, for myself, and I've got a lot of curves, I've got a big booty, I, again, picked a kind of wide leg forgiving pattern for myself. And I even measured myself to make sure like that was even the pattern that corresponded to my size. But I actually really appreciated this did have some space for me to take it in and adjust because it was more high-waisted than the other options, and come to find out I would need to take more out of that inside inseam, that crotch seam, the rise, the technical term, because there wasn't enough room for my my booty. So if you need more space, if you're like, these are not hitting me right, there's some weird bunching, first of all, you can just Google all the issues you're having and look at photos, like pants sewing issues, pants fit issues, and look on the Google image search, and those photos are going to be really helpful because if you click on the photo that corresponds to the issue you're seeing in your fit, then you can adjust that. Usually you can click through and find a blog that will help you figure out what is wrong and how to fix it. So you can easily start on the foot of a leg and then go up to that U shape to create this inseam. If you're nervous about matching up that middle part, again, pin things. But if you're really nervous, like for my knit pants, the first time I did it, I started the crotch seam. I know, like, terrible, awful, but like I was just scared about how stretch would work and laying things up. So I say, go with whatever makes sense for you and take your time. Like, use all the pins you need to and take your time, especially if it's your first time making pants. Okay, when we're done with that, then we move on to the worst part. This is the worst part. The zipper insertion. I'm not even going to begin to explain to you what all these parts are and what exactly I'm doing, because I literally am looking at my homework that needs to be done this week that is on zippers, because I'm going to fashion school and my assignment for my sewing construction class is it's literally this on muslin scraps on like how to insert zippers properly. So you can watch what I'm doing, but I'm going to link you to actual videos and blogs that give you a much better idea of what you need to be doing, because I don't know. I haven't done the homework, so I don't know the proper terms, all these things. But what you can see me scrolling here. You can see me scrolling in desperation to try to figure out what I am doing and like unpinning. Look at this. Like, I want you to see that like this is not easy. So you pin that in place, and then theoretically what you're going to do is you're going to sew it, and then you're going to flip it over and sew it. And then once I had the zipper in, I just really fast, I know it's blurry, but like I just wanted to see really fast how it looked, how it fit without the waistband. I think it looks pretty good. It felt pretty good. We're in a good place. I'm moving my legs. I think I do bring that crotch in a little bit after that video, actually. And now it's time for the worst part, the dreaded waistband. Although I personally think the zipper insertion is the worst part, but the waistband probably needs the most attention because it's interfacing. It is putting a button in a buttonhole, and lining it up and making sure everything works well. The instructions for all this are very sparse on the Mood website, I will say. So I looked to other blogs about waistband insertion because on the example on the Mood website, they don't even put a zipper in. They're just like, oh, like, we decided to just not because the fabric was stretchy enough and we wanted to have a faux fly front. So that's why I'm going to include some info on waistbands and all of that. But I feel like it's a lot better when it's real. I wanted it to work for this. I didn't want to just have it be, a fake fly front. I wanted the challenge. I was more than up for it. And I had some extra fabric just in case this all went to shit. So I would say the big thing is making sure when you're doing the interfacing that you iron in, right? That you're watching me now. I've cut it out to the right shape and everything. I've pre-cut everything, but I have a cloth for the ironing board, so that none of the sticky stuff gets on the ironing board, and instead it gets on my much beloved, it was, I think, like actually a wedding gift for us, kitchen stuff. So you do this for all the pieces, you put in the interfacing, so that it can be nice and sturdy. I think my iron was not hot enough, and that's why you're seeing me do this again, because I feel like I didn't have it on the right setting. I feel like I had it like on a lower setting for something I'd just done, and I just hadn't thought to reset it. So turn it up, and it's slowly going to start sticking. This is not great interfacing, but whatever. Some people definitely are going to tell you to put some kind of fabric between the iron and the interfacing itself, and good for you. I didn't do that because I feel like my interfacing never sticks when I do that, and it is worse off that way. Sure, there might be residue on the iron, but I try to get that off on this pressing cloth, and then I throw the pressing cloth in the washer and it's fine. But I just am tired of doing this. Like, you can see me here trying it, especially when I turn it over to try to finish that. Like, you never want your iron to face the sticky side, but I definitely am a rebel and don't put this between the iron and the other side that I showed you, where it's sticky side facing away from the iron, because I just haven't had good experiences with interfacing sticking that way. So when it's sticky side up, look at me, I'm mad, I'm annoyed. Look at that. Using the pressing cloth didn't do anything. It didn't help. It didn't work. Proved my own point. Anyway, here we are. I said what I said. I don't want any comments about how this is not the right way to do interfacing. I will delete your comment. I do not care. I don't care about hurting your feelings by doing this. I do what I want to. These are my pants. Yeah, look at that. I'm testing it and sticking. Okay, and if you're still here despite me haranguing you, you can see my waistband. Look at it. It looks so good. I still won't put the button in at this point. But yeah, look at it. I think it looks really good. I was so proud of these. I think they fit really well. They're so comfy. I love that they were high-waisted. I love that they were wide leg. I did bring the legs in a little bit after this. I know that the pattern was intentionally wide leg. But I did want people to know that, like, I did take it in, because I just, like, if you could look at it there, I just am not pleased with it. I'm not happy about it, because it's just not a style I wear. But if you do want wide leg, this is perfect for you. There's a ton that you can do with this in terms of the wide-leggedness. So here we are. Look at that. Just need to put in a button. And here they are. I'm so proud of how these turned out. I have to admit, they are very comfy and I love wearing them. Okay, well, I guess I can say that these are really great. they look great on you, I have to say. I think you learned a lot in this project, and you sacrificed some scraps for me, but not enough. I mean, you know, Scrap Monster, I have like 2 yards left of this beautiful lavender, heathery pinstripe fabric. So, I mean, look at these buttons. I just want an excuse to make more with this fabric. Like, can you imagine like a little vest, little waistcoat with these beautiful pearly things? Just so good.
I mean, I guess I can be okay with you having joy in your work.
I love you too, Scrap Monster. Special shout out to my patrons. Thank you. You're the whole reason this stuff gets made. Please also, folks, let me know if you participate in this so I can add you to the playlist for the great Costube Sew Off.
Thank you for joining me, and don't forget to make it so. Will we turn to the camera? Okay, cool. Thank you for being down to be my puppet.